Hi ladies and gentlemen, my name is Peter Flockens here, and this is the Peanut Gallery. Kevin Garcia, who's usually my co-host, as you can see, is not here. He already did his own summer movie review, and that video you can find right in the, should be somewhere over there. And if not, please go to our YouTube channel, and while you're there, like and subscribe it. Let's start with the summer movie reviews, shall we? Okay, first up, let's start with Star Trek Into Darkness. This is J.J. Abrams' second Star Trek prequel-ish film. And it stars Christopher Pine as James T. Kirk, Zachary Quinto as Mr. Spock, and Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan. And I really enjoyed a majority of this film. I thought the sets were fantastic. The special effects were great. I believed that this was a sequel to Star Trek, the first one, back from, I believe it was 2009. And I believe that the friendship between Kirk and Spock was developing. I believe the fact that the Federation is getting more cautious and more skeptical, especially after the first film, where their entire fleet was just destroyed. And I believe that the Federation was getting darker. I could accept all of this and why they would need the help of Khan. However, the problem I really have with this movie is that it was a complete mirror of Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. And I was hoping that, you know, with this being Khan in this film, that it would kind of lead into that, or it would hit it slightly, or a different turn. Maybe Khan is good because this is an alternative universe. Or maybe this universe would become the Dark Universe from the Star Trek TV show. But it didn't, and instead, the last half hour to 45 minutes of the film was just unoriginal, with an extended chasing that didn't need to happen. And of course, you had to have, since you had Khan in here, you had to have someone yell Khan. But instead of Kirk, it was Spock. And the second when Spock yelled Khan, I just went, oh my god. They did not just do that. Please tell me they did not just do that. It was unnecessary. It seemed like it was fan service, and the fan service backfired. So I really didn't understand it. I did think, though, that Benedict Cumberbatch was menacing, he was evil, he was devious, and I loved it. I loved every single minute of it. I loved the fact that when he is threatening you, you are thinking to yourself, holy sh... because they had the doors, and it was hilarious. I thought he was fantastic. I loved him so much in this film. And I'm really sad to say this, but I am going to give Star Trek Into Darkness 3 out of 5 peanuts. I think it deserves much more than that. I think it deserves at least 4. But the last 20 to 35 minutes, I'm sorry, I said 45, right? Yeah, 45 minutes was... The ending didn't do it for me. It was not a good resolution to the plot. I think it could have been better, but I really hope that J.J. Abrams comes back for a third Star Trek film, because this film definitely deserves a sequel. Moving on, the next film I saw was a French film, because I am odd that way. And I saw Renoir. This film offers a dramatic and beautiful look at the final years of Pierre-Auguste Renoir, the famous impressionist, and at his family. And you realize just the messed up life that he had towards the end. He had arthritis in his hands to the point that he couldn't even move them, so it was painting with like a claw, pretty much, just the brush sitting there. But at times, this movie just didn't seem right. It seemed like it was being dramatic for the sake of being dramatic, and it seemed like it was being risque for the sake of being risque. There was no real purpose to the movements that were taking place. So as much as I thought it was a beautiful film, and I thought the actor who played Renoir, which is an old French actor named Michel Bercu, I'm probably butchering his name, I still will give this film a 3 out of 5 peanuts. The next film that I saw was another independent film. However, this independent film was directed and written by someone who you might have heard of. It was written by William Shakespeare and directed by Joss Whedon. The film is Much Ado About Nothing. Much Ado About Nothing. And this film was shot within a matter of weeks by Joss Whedon with just a few cameras that he had at his house. And it was filmed in his house by friends and close cast members who he had, and the actors were all his friends, because apparently what Joss Whedon does, because apparently when you are enormously rich and incredibly creative, you have brunches with other people who are very creative and very good actors and very rich, and you have brunches where after you have a nice brunch of probably egg whites and whole wheat toast with Nutella, which is delicious, by the way, you do Shakespeare. So they decided one day, hey, you know what, Josh? We should film these. Okay, random person. So that's what they did. They filmed this movie, and it takes place in contemporary America, even though this, the story takes place, I believe, in 15th century Italy. It's the story pretty much of love, of falling in love, falling out of love, and how do you deal when people are jealous of your love, and what extent will people do who are jealous of love do to get it or to destroy it. It's phenomenally acted by, let's see, who is in here. You have Nathan Fillion, who plays Dogberry, who is just hilarious and is kind of a linchpin to this whole plot. Then Clark Gregg, who is Agent Coulson from the Marvel Universe. He plays Leonardo, who is the father figure for this entire film. And then the two main actors and actresses in this are Alex Denisof, who I have not seen before, but I am anxious to see him in other films. He is a hilarious Senior Benedict, and Amy Acker, who plays Beatrice, his foil and love interest. I thought it was great. I am going to give this film 4 out of 5 peanuts, and I hope that other people will see this film. The next film I saw was Man of Steel. Now, I had really high hopes for this. I've been a fan of Man of Steel ever since I was a child and watching Superman the animated film, but this was not what I expected. It was dark, it was gloomy, and even though you had Henry Cavill, who played Clark Kent, or Superman, and you had Amy Adams, who I think has been the best Lois Lane I've seen, and I've seen pretty much almost all of the incarnations of Superman. I thought he was phenomenal. And Russell Crowe, who was a great Jor-El, and Michael Shannon, who was a perfect Zod. I think the film fell flat, mainly because of the direction of Zack Snyder and his over-dramatic slow-motion moves, and the pure illogical nature of some of the acts. For example, Superman destroys half of Metropolis. Why does he do this? It's just a giant fight scene. If they gave some purpose behind it, for example, they could have said that, give me a line where, Superman tries to pull Zod away from the fight, so he's just fighting him over the ocean, and Zod's like, no, I want to kill all the humans, but thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to use you as a battering ram, though. That would make sense. They would be like, okay, Superman tried to stop him, but Zod isn't having any of that. I feel like there are certain lines like that where if they just added 1 or 2 lines of dialogue or changed a little thing, this could have been a great film. But instead, Rotten Tomatoes is giving this movie 56%. 56%. And you know what? I'm looking this up real quick right now. What Superman Returns got? Guess what it got? With Brandon Roth? It got 75%. I think this film is far superior to Man of Steel. Man of Steel was far superior to Superman Returns, pardon me. I honestly just think that Superman is ingrained in the psyche of America where we will never have a perfect Superman film. That's just my opinion. Moving along, the next film that I saw was, again, you know me and my independent films. I saw The Kings of Summer. This movie, I wanted to like it. The trailers looked great. It stars some really good child actors. You have Nick Robinson, who is actually really good, very serious in this. Then you have Nick Offerman, who plays the kind of cranky, narcissistic, cynical dad. He was kind of cranky over cynical and narcissistic, and I really didn't enjoy this film. I wanted to, but I just didn't. Oh, and Alison Brie was in it, which was always a plus, because Alison Brie. The final film I saw this summer was The Way, Way Back. Now, this film was just fantastic. Oh, by the way, Superman Returns, I will give you 3 out of 5 peanuts. Kings of Summer, I will give you 2 out of 5 peanuts. The Way, Way Back, I am going to say that this film was probably my favorite film I've seen all summer, besides Star Trek Into Darkness. It stars Steve Carell, You have Sam Rockwell, Allison Janney, and Toni Collette, who they're all just fantastically acted here. And then you have this really young kid who, well, it's not young, he's probably about my age, but he plays a teenager. His name is Liam James, who was just great in this. He reminded me a lot of, again, you can tell that I'm online right now because I have to look some of this up. He really reminded me a lot of, what is his name? Of Tim Robbins. He reminded me of a young Tim Robbins, and I thought he was really dark and moody. He wasn't really dark. He was dark and moody in the beginning. And then as the film went on, he became more confident, more full of himself. And Sam Rockwell kind of is his surrogate father, because Steve Carell, who's kind of like his adopted father, is a complete jerk and an a-hole. And I thought that was really fun to see Steve Carell play a complete reversal of the character he played on The Office in pretty much in every film. He usually plays this very nice, kind-hearted, lovable schmuck. He actually was in the movie Dinner for Schmucks. But in this film, he plays a complete asshole. And he's great at it. I really enjoyed seeing him in that role where he has more of a challenge opposed to being typecast, and it's great to see stuff like that. Sam Rockwell plays his usual self, which is this kind of over-the-top, hilarious guy, and I loved it. I thought he was great. I think he was a really good addition to this film. There was a lot of ensemble casting in this, and that was mainly because the writer behind this, who was, here it is, Jim Rash and Nat Faxon. They both are on Community. They both write for Community and direct it. And one of the writers and directors, I should say. And you can really kind of see the humor. There are a few moments where you have this outlandish comedy. It just is very, very campy, but works really well. And I really enjoyed it. This is a great coming-of-age film, and I think it's going to be a classic. Even though Adventureland, I think, did a very similar theme and was maybe more successful, I still recommend The Way, Way Back, and I will give it 4 out of 5 peanuts. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is my summer review. I know I didn't do as many as Kevin. I have really been behind on some of my movies. I need to catch up on those. Please like and subscribe to this channel. And, in a few months, maybe less than that, Kevin and I are going to be back reviewing films, and it's going to be awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Have a great summer. My name is Peter Flockenseer, and this has been The Peanut Gallery. Thank you. Goodbye.